Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. Just doing my foot bath and with the bad camera. I feel like I need to um sometimes explain my appearance. One, the phone's horrible. It's worse than my last Android. Two, my menstrual's late. So I think I'm having like an early menopause. That could explain some things. Because the hospitals were, when they first started to try to kill me, as of recent, in my 30s, after John, we were able to maybe get Jesse get him out of the monster land a bit. Very influenced by the malignant grandpa. Mainly because he's just craving a bond with a grandparent. That can happen. I couldn't obviously be with the other ones because they're so perverted and he didn't want to see him no more. And he wasn't made to see him anymore. And when he got old enough, he was able to, keep that. Well, he decided that at like 9 or something. And the magistrate agreed. And she didn't even fight it. And this is one of my random shows just so I can get through my foot bath. I've already started it twice. I do about an hour once a week. Because of my dumbness, I should do it about twice. Okay, so they started me with these steroid overdoses, which then therefore obviously would mess up my ability to keep some things, to not maybe get riled up as easily. That would affect that. You can ask anyone. Ask guys that got hooked on steroids. I didn't want the steroids. There was this poison oak thing that kept occurring, and now I look back, it was all planned. They knew to just do the steroids. They were going to try to give me a heart attack. So, and have my son watch me croak out with a stroke and a heart attack. Wow, I can't believe what the system did to him. They really needed him to continue whatever this was on that side of the family, from the people that raised me and the ones that I married into, and some pretty dark and nasty, dirty stuff. So they started the steroid overdoses. I had other malpractice as a child. I can hands down tell you that it was some kind of weird Nazi MK Ultra stuff because of these clinics, and they would be checking all these spots on me. I was having chest pains. I was having this abuse from my elder brother, doing just the most fucked up shit. Having me jump in this huge horse pool where I went all the way to the bottom, and then he expected me to get all the way back up, and sometimes I felt like I couldn't breathe when I would swim up. Just a bunch of bullshit, okay? Like the most horrible situations. I'd started to get severe chest pains very young, and Anne was so out of it, just like, where did she go? And then she's had all these perversion problems, and just, she's a mess. It's all hidden. Long story short, so I've been experimented on more times than probably a lot of people, and the fact that I'm even doing decently is a shock. So then when the steroids didn't work, they couldn't kill me with the steroids, they started to, when the smart meters came in, I ended up being really sensitive to those, and at U of M, they put me into a sedated state without my permission. I had been gardening that day and making a small garden pond, but some days prior, the neighbor had tried to choke me because my one husky did this like short howl before we went rollerblading, because she loved to rollerblade. She loved to run when I was rollerblading. She was a half husky, and they just have that where they have to just run it out. With her, though, you had to monitor to make her rest because she wouldn't. She's one of those dogs. A lot like Hip. The Hip's even like at a higher level of intensity with certain things. And they're rougher. So you get stepped on more, you get your hips knocked out. You gotta really be on alert with them. She was more of a ballerina. She'd sometimes step on your foot, but she's like to prance around you, and she'd stay out of your way. Even if she didn't want me leaving the house alone, she wanted to go where I was going. And when I could take her, I would. She would never like knock me down. I mean, I'm not saying there wasn't sometimes that she made a mistake. Like, she didn't like me in a swing. I couldn't be in a bench swing. I could not swim with her. No, she drowned me accidentally because I could not believe that I thought I was safe enough to swim in a body of water. It was alarming. On one of our camping trips for one of Jesse's birthdays is we went to this cabin place, this like really fun fishing place, and you kind of had the whole place to yourself. It was an old mine in southeast Ohio on the border of West Virginia, and all the old coal areas had filled up with water over time. It's just a really cool place. It's called Shawn Lake. And then it changed, but the original guy died. And where are we now? Okay, so the 2 dogs. So then, this is my trailing off conversations. Some of them never get finished. Like, why was I making candles the one day? And then I'm like, I bought John a burner for food to cook at work. And how did I relate that to making candles? Because when I was looking up his heat thing for work, so he can avoid the microwave, he has a toaster oven there, so he can use that and this cooking thing. All the candle making stuff came up because people will buy a separate one to not make a mess on their stove, and then they have like a separate area that they maybe do the candles in. And so that was where that one. So we'll clean that up from like a week ago. Not that anyone's watching, because I just scream a lot sometimes, and I get buzzed and scream before bed sometimes. And all right, so I'm just trying to express to you what has happened to this poor woman. So, and I'm not going to say that my choice of pain medicine is helping, but any other pharmaceutical wasn't going to help. And they were killing me with the pharmaceutical. They were trying to kill me with pharmaceuticals at one point. Like, I'd stop breathing, okay? And the doctors wouldn't change the script, and they tell me to keep taking it. Like, look right at me. I mean, just like a blatant, like, we're murdering you. You know what I mean? It was just like, no, you're going to take the pill that you can't breathe when you take it. So, just water. Okay, so I'd have these poisoning oaks or whatever. And then this is where it even gets more scary, in a way, is so then I go out to a march rally in Washington, D.C. It was called the Poor People's Campaign, and it was a mixed bag. You could find, I'll say honestly, it was probably mostly Democratic, probably democratically funded. There was a lot of Trump haters, and he was president. But that was kind of funny because there was like puppets and like costumes type things, and these guys, it was fun. It was just too hot. And I made a traveling buddy on the bus. We had a bus that we took. I went with this group from Detroit, and it was a mixed bag. I mean, I guess if I was going to say, though, mostly probably predominantly African American. No, I think it was about half and half. There were some Muslims. We would have to stop on the trip for them to pray. And I remember the bus driver was scared the shit out of me. There was like this rainstorm or something. And the girl I had made friends with, she had health things too. I was getting horrible side effects from this one pill, this last pill I was trying to get off of. I was on one pill, and it was just wreaking havoc on so many things, and my creativity was completely gone. I just like a white piece of paper. I mean, it was so depressed. It was just like we had already tried to switch stuff, and it wasn't working, and I found a doctor down in Ohio, and so at this march, they burned our face. She felt it too, and I couldn't see it, but apparently the establishment was so angry about this Poor People's Campaign. This drew in Native Americans from all over the country, like a small group of them came, kind of gathered. It was just in the sense of like a camaraderie of like culture, and not all of us would have had the exact same political beliefs, but I do know the group I was traveling with. I ended up having a slight meltdown. We got stuck. I was hungry. It was just all had been too much for me. The heat congestion, the crowds. We needed dinner. We're stuck. Two youth had run off in the city or something down in this park area, and we're trying to retrieve them. I don't remember if someone finally did. I am hot and bothered, probably needing a beer or something, because I'm not drinking that, 2 days barely. We made the shortest trip ever. It was too condensed. It would suit like young activists that live on like a McDonald's, cheeseburger and have like a small bag of clothes and can go without showering and, just, young. That's the shit I could do when I was young, take a bus across the country and someone would be like, you did what? And it was just like, what? I mean, it's not a big deal when you're young. Okay, so we're back to the agave. What are we doing now? Okay, so they burned our face. I mean, I got home, I looked like and it wasn't just sunburn. It was literally, some of the women died of ovarian cancer shortly after. So tell me that that's not a coincidence. And they were all African American as far as I know. And there was a few of them or something. 2 or 3. I don't remember what the girl told me, but it seemed a little alarming. It seemed way too condensed. And why would it just be after this? And then I started having extra hormone problems and weight problems and a bunch of, I was already struggling. And my face never healed. I've tried this, that, and the other. It's not like, you can't call it like a 3rd or 4th degree burn, but it's definitely where like it simply wouldn't heal back. And my son was doing this thing where he kept pinching my cheeks. I don't know why. I thought I was going to punch his nose. We just were around each other too much at the end, and he was all over the place, and I was too. But I don't know why you would do that to me. I was thinking about that the other day. Like, I was crying. He had me, like, crying. And he had pinched up a bunch of vessels on my cheeks. I guess, apparently without knowing it. All right, so back to this. I think you should play a trick on a friend. Get some pure agave. Make sure it's pure. And trick them and fix crumpets or pancakes or something. And ask them if how they like that maple syrup. But put it in like a maple syrup thing. Or put it in a separate thing so they didn't see you pour it out of the agave, and see if you can trick them a bit. It's not exactly like maple syrup, but it's been really interesting to me. The other thing I don't understand is there's an address on here. I feel so bad about being mean to my lesbian sister on text. Cadogan House, 322 Lisburn Road, Belfast. Isn't it Australia? But it says USA. Where is Belfast? Is that New York? Okay, because it says New Albany. No, New Albany, Indiana? There's like an Albany, New York. I forgot about that cult trip we did. I was trying to find a semi-safe community, even if it had like a cult thing going on to some degree. But it couldn't be severe cult. But it was severe cult when we got there. Jesse wasn't going to be able to play sports anymore. And he liked sports a lot. And John and I were really avid playing then. A lot of those obnoxious videos, you guys, that's literally what I'm doing, is being kind of obnoxious and just having fun. And it's just for me and God and the puppies. Well, and who else? I don't know who can put up. I've gotten worse here. I thought maybe I'd like spiff it up a bit, get a little more professional. No, I cut the dreads off. I'm looking like I'm transitioning over to lesbianism, and I'm not. And I gotta finish up with these tortures. So something was shot near my head at Brentwood. My brain was rattling inside, and by then I am full blown. I have horrible EMF symptoms all the time for over 10 plus years. And here looking back, it had been way back. Like way back. They've been just the whole time. Whatever program I got locked in, they never released it. They never reduced it, and they had no plans or intentions of it, and I should have already been dead. So then I guess then they're desperate. So then they're down to the local, corrupt government. I mean, I think there must be like a ping pong match going on for sure. After I witnessed the cartel business, and then they tried to kill me at U of M for reporting it. And they kept just ignoring me and telling me I was making it up. And they just made my emotional chart look like literally completely schizophrenic, which granted, sure that could, is it though? No. I reported, I saw cartel action. It was right near Ann Arbor, and they are denying it, you know? And I've got a neighbor who's going psychotic, truly psychotic, because his wife has to escape from him because he's holding her hostage in a trailer park, which is double wide. None of us have a yard, so you're literally living with everyone. You know what I mean? We're all just living in the same double wide, you might as well say. And Larry's flying 2 doors down because Pella's super excited. And she goes, woo, like real short one, because I got my skates on and we're going to go skate. You know what I mean? She's going to run, get some energy run. And I got Larry running down to my trailer on my porch. And this wasn't like gangster rap trailer. You know what I mean? This wasn't like ghetto. This was a nice one. It was so nice, you'd get harassed about some stupid stuff. Okay, so they burned my face at the thing, and then the grand finale, because of this, it was like some sort of silent wave explosion, something with a fluke with the heat and radiation, but it was directly through the back of Charlie's yard. I mean, you could have seen it it just perfectly flew in my face. I couldn't get away at the time. It came as like a hazed ball of sorts, and once it hit me, it had to be like an Agent Orange effect. I immediately was distorted. Everything was blown up, per se. A little bit of blood out of the ear. He then gets a shed built up, pretty like uno pronto, in the area where this blew through. I mean, it could have been associated with something else, but it wasn't, because not one of them was out. No one was making a peep, and a bunch of them left their house. So they knew exactly what they set up. That's just alarming. So let's go back to this cult visit. So, and then the teeth. My teeth were chipped way back when. They were fractured young. I had a roller skate get me once. I've also had skates and a very fast speed swinging over my head. On like where it's going like this, the legs out, and then I peeked up too soon. I was little, and it slammed me in the side of the head. Guaranteed damage was done. Bunch of stuff like that. Bunches of just wild, like, I just needed to get out of, like, full intense sports. You know, it was like, let's just go to, like, modern dance or something a little more light and friendly. You know what I mean? Not 10-pound skates on each foot or whatever they weighed back then. And whiplashes and catastrophes and falling out of the air. And those people raised me didn't give a motherfuck, man. It was always just push through, push through, push through. Fucking sick as a dog, you're not eating enough, you're highly injured, and push through, push through, push through. These people are psychotically nuts. And then the violating and stuff. Oh my God. So here we are again doing therapy. Yeah, I'm gonna fucking talk about it, you assholes. And you fucking trap me here. What do you think I'm gonna do? You gonna wait till you're dead? You ain't dying. Boundaries, bear, stand your ground for you to be your complete self. Wow. We turn to the bear. I'm gonna read all of it. I'm getting some more books out because, you know, we're still moving in. The Art of the Golden West. The problem is I don't want to... That's probably a sad one. It's an interesting one, that's for sure. Oh, it's going to be sad. See the Native Americans up over? Those are spirits. And they're looking down on the white man settlers. You know, how does anyone ever think that people like me... Now, I don't know if my DNA test was ever right, and the government stole that too, illegally, by the way. I don't understand why not one attorney would ever help. So when you're doing the ionic foot bath, which it could be a sign that I'm a little dehydrated, or not, you gotta kind of make sure that that's like that. Hey, some asshole, it's 21 minutes in. Why don't you get this one flagged? Who started flagging the videos after I swore at my lesbian sister? Was it her? She's retaliating like a 2-year-old and she's 65. Mom and Dad want to see you. No, they don't want to see me. Who's going to be over at the Drew estate ready and loaded, or throw me and John in the back of a van or something like 2 fish off the side of a riverbed? Fucking what kind of operation is going to be set up there? I don't care. You can think they're half senile all you want. If someone, I bet, had like a recorder to listen to their little, how they can flip their switch. God, you guys, you gotta be kidding me. Believe in that malarkey. Okay, so since the explosion, parts of my skull are shifting. My ears were immediately larger. They never went back down. One's actually bigger than the other. My nose got way bigger. I think my tatas did too, and I don't know why. That was, although me and John had fixed that some time back. I tried some maca, and it started to kind of get like a progesterone level up. It was as if my body had been stunted. Way back, parts of my development, because of all the crap and the food deprivation. And so I'm going to get to wrap the foot bath up here quick. It's been about an hour if the first 2 times were... Okay, so... I wish I could stop the thing. It's almost as if I can't even get to my next thought. I don't know if that's like a retard thing. I suppose I could unlearn it, but I think that was a problem at... Even way back when, at some of my acting workshops, at this one agency I was trying to go through, down in Toledo, O'Brien's, and I just got hooked up with the I don't know if she would have been my agent. She would be like an agent here. Something in between agent between here and then to New York. So it would have been 1992, and then somehow I was pregnant within, well, I mean, we know how that happens, but this was a different setup. I didn't know what to do. I really didn't. I took upwards of 2 months to figure it out. But the woman was supposed to be the mom. She was insistent. Like, she wasn't letting this. I was all over the place too, throwing the invitations out. He's abusing me in between, saying crappy stuff like, "Is it even his baby?" And it was just so horrible. He's so psychotic with me. Really, really just, I don't know why I couldn't get more done with all of that. And it'll never leave. It's later. It doesn't affect my life as much. But man, to think what I was willing to put up with. Like, so that means the level of disregard and disrespect and abuse from the family unit, it was that high that I thought that I should have to put up with all that, you know? So very alarming. So it continued on for a long time with several other groups of people and types of people. So we're not going to look at the Golden West, that Indian one. That was sad enough. Yeah, but so how does someone like me, though, that is questioning... But see, now when I did my DNA, there was more... It was laced in Italian and Jewish and Spanish in there. And my family denied it. They coughed it up as it was a wrong test. I asked some of them to get it done. They wouldn't. I called another group, this agent guy, to look into my background, my DNA, figure out if we could locate what the fuck's going on here. Because it was already out there. Don't take your DNA. They take it and do stuff with it. The police and stuff had already illegally taken mine. Because they were trying to frame me with a med cart break-in at a nursing home. A, because I saw elderly abuse and I reported it, and B, the cops and stuff were still just after me to cover these rings, these pedos and stuff. And what are we doing right now? Okay, so I was listening to NPR real quick. NPR. And they're doing this thing. It's like, it seems like a triple, like where they're saying the one side, like the Democrats and the Republicans, okay? Like say, for instance, they're trying to show like the perspective thing, like at this point, most Democrats immediately assume that, I'm not saying in all instances that the Republicans despise them, and that we all kind of base it on like an intelligence thing. And some of this discussion with this supposed professional and another professional made a lot of sense. Yet then when they got to the part where they kept using the word democratic, but then they were trying to say that technically, going by the fact that maybe the Republicans or whoever aren't acting like it's somewhat democratic or something. But what's bothering me about this thing with this way of going in a circle with things is it's the brainwashing thing still, is that our focus should be on the Constitution. When I say, how do I reconcile if I had Native American relatives, because we were thought that we kind of did, but there was never 100% proof. But if for some reason my situation's a little bit more covered up and wild, and there's some other sperm situation going on there, where or just simply that our family was that discombobulated and fragmented, and if any of the DNA was right, that the whole history was just covered because we had a bunch of sleep-arounders way back when. I can guarantee it that we gotta have the most promiscuous past, like gene pool and addictive tendencies. Oh my God. And so, how would a person know if a person has Native American and white? And it's all the time. There was a bunch of crossovers. How do we reconcile? I've discussed this before. No, really, how do we reconcile the Native American past and the white? Not all the whites wanted to murder all the Indians, but a vast majority of that white government with the Constitution wanted to kill all the Indians. The Indians already had a vibrant, abundant network of even business, if you want to call it business transactions, for goods and services and materials, and that all up in this region, this eastern region, along the river, all the way over to DC, this whole area. What whole area, Heather? The Midwest, over to the east, all the way. I mean, we're talking flourishing Native American colonies. So how would a fruitcake like me, let's just get rid of all the why she's this fruity, how would we reconcile within our psyche, within our souls, within our ancestral roots, down to our feet, that touch the earth that Creator God made and say, oh, well, yeah, I'm just white and then I got some of this ethnic stuff going on and sure, we're all at peace with it. I don't know. Like, I think that is though, like if I don't get down on like super white people, but that's that. I find that the super whites are more like, it's just, this is what it is. You know, they'll say, oh, it is really horrible what happened to all the natives. And we revisit this subject 100 million times because for the life of me, I was battling with this back in middle school, high school, maybe even earlier. And I thought for sure me and God would have this, you know, reconciled by now. You know what I mean? No, we never reconciled it, Lord. And I don't know if I'm getting like a full, quiet. It happens sometimes. Sometimes it means I probably didn't handle something quite right. Which recently, that wouldn't be too hard to figure out. Or, there's just like this. And then I'm like, Heather, come on, you know. There's been Cold Wars. There's been these hundreds of genocides over and over, and somehow people are still kicking. Yeah, but has there been, like, are they having this transgender problem over in Europe? I mean, do we need to, I don't know. Did anyone go anywhere? Is it more calm somewhere else? Yeah, so we aren't even going to get into the lost books of the Bible. Lord, we just pray right now. You don't have to pray how I pray. I come from a very arrogant bloodline on one side, potentially. So, I have to use words like, I beg you, God, and things like that. And that started way back when. So I decided I was going to just prance off and make up my own spiritual ideas. And he straightened that up real quick. And I'm not saying that he would do that with you. I know what's went on. And he decided the reason I had to be brought into where I was. And when I said last night, a lot of us don't know how we got here. Yeah, we know how we got here. God let us be born into here, over here, and over there, and everywhere. I have to deal with that it was how it was supposed to be. It could not, this is our prayer, it could not happen earlier. It could not happen later, although it still seems like it's later a little bit. But it certainly isn't sooner. It isn't sooner. The kids had to be grown up. Maybe it's something one of the kids, the grandchildren, maybe it's just one of them, it just simply would be too much. And none of this is going to get fixed. And God didn't want it fixed because God's going to fix it when he decides to fix it. And I need to stop that crap. And I am a solution person. It's never, maybe not, most likely comes across that way at times, but I am always searching for a solution. I may do a lot of like a hypothesis of this or potential of that with God. And some will say, well, you either know or you don't know. Okay, good for you. As far as I can see in the world, it's not that black and white. But I beg God. I beg God for things. Not like I beg him for a brand new car. No, I think I've said, could we at least just keep one car running? That kind of thing. And when I look back at those situations, where these people, these monsters were trying to keep us from transporting or getting supplies or getting food, groceries, or get to work, or, I don't know, get a dog to a vet, when we had to, and stuff like that, is maybe, just maybe, we would have been, really collisioned, like maybe that was the night they were going to blow the house up or burn it down, or, it seemed a bit excessive, but now seeing that, things are a little excessive going on. And I have to try to go do some work. I haven't been doing much work like I did all summer, spring, from February until when did it was almost just like after we put the turkeys down and got the meat processed from them, he put the turkeys down, and then he took, I don't think he left. I don't know if there was giblets in the one. He does a searing of the fowl. And then I don't know, the thing with my birthdays don't bug me like they once did. But someone had passed away around that time. I didn't know until later, like months later, which sucked because I probably would have had to try to get down there. And I'm like, how come every time I would need to maybe at least just go? But I think the sister and I didn't really, I don't know if we patched up right. And from skating, it was from the skating world, which is so eons ago. It's just like a whole other world to me. It's like I don't even identify with it anymore. But I would have been on top of that to get a hold of when the brother passed away. I would have considered him a friend. We maybe didn't hang out like years later or keep in touch, but back in the day we were definitely camaraderie. We got along pretty good, and I think we were fond of each other. And so around October, after the turkeys, John and I got super sick. The last time to the grill, we never went again because the fight was set up and they were trying to not let us leave the building. And so, then I don't know, I just started to try to relax more, but then I think it led into some lazy comfort fooding. The stuff, the Hamas and all that crap escalating in October. I can't say I fully gave up. I mean, I never really give up. I might get downtrodden sometimes. I usually get myself pulled back up. So anyways, when I pray, and that was all a prayer mostly, other than some thrown in extra testimony, is I always beg God, like, God, please, we need a solution down here. Please, God, I'm begging you. What is going on? I don't really do like big fancy prayers sometimes, but it's just very like, in your face. And I'm literally starting projects in every room. John's kind of gotten a kick out of it because I never did this before. To this degree. And ooh, that one's coming good. That one came off pretty good. So I was going to try to go up and sand some floor. What was I talking about, though? I got to go back to NPR and then wrap this wacky thing up. So it was like this, like these bomb words, but then it's like, I'm not hearing enough Constitution. They keep saying, and they take this Democratic thing and they keep saying that the Democrats are the Democrats, that they're behaving in a democratic manner. No, they're not. You're not. Democratic, in its words alone. Oh, that was the other thing, is that trip to the Washington, D.C., when a lot of those Democrats found out that I identified more as a libertarian. I had never heard such outlandish definitions of a libertarian. And I found out on that bus trip that a lot of the people wanted a nanny state. They wanted forms of socialism. More or less, they wanted to be fully taken care of. Fully. And we were like debating. They're like, libertarians don't allow any type of assistance if something goes wrong. I'm like, no, there's still a government and stuff. There's still medical care. There's still assistance if you need it, but we wouldn't want people fully dependent on it. You know what I mean? Like there has to be a push shoved to some degree. And they were acting like I was a Nazi. Like they were acting like I had something wrong with me because I thought that we should try to get things more libertarian, stick with the Constitution, get out of this Democrat, Republican paradigm, because that's what's destroying the country. You strictly base your votes on what you believe in and who you think is the best candidate, regardless of what party they stand for. And maybe there's just too many parties. And you're like, well, that sounds like communism. And I think that kind of did. Shouldn't we just have it go back to the Constitution? And then whatever you want to identify as, you want to identify as a green ticket, you want to identify as this ticket. If you really need those labels, that's fine. But how about we just try to keep and reinstate parts of the Constitution that are not being listened to because these other bills somehow are able to slip through? I think that isn't that where we should start? And let's stop this stupid game. This stupid game is ruining everything, and it's not working, and it hasn't been working for a very long time. It is a mess, and it's showing itself in all its glory. It is a fucking mess. Drop these things that started to allow people to infringe on the Constitution. These bills, these amends, these missing a word here that got through, that shouldn't have got through, that allowed them to tamper with the Constitution. Get back to the Constitution. Get the word savage and all that out of the Constitution. Get this thing about slave. Jesus, I think it's about a slave. And people also don't realize the Constitution is literally based on verses in the Bible. And then a kid would be saying, well, we hate God, we hate the Bible, we don't want nothing to do with religion, it shouldn't be in politics. Oh, well, we better get back to what the natural methods of things with morals and ethics, because North America is not looking, it's not good. And you know what? The whole world may not even be getting blown up, but North America is in big, big, big trouble with God. And I've never seen us want to be in such big trouble as this one. I mean, this is like the biggest trouble that we've ever been in with God. And you guys just keep doing it. Just keep doing it. You know what I mean? And you're going to end up looking like me. You're going to look like your face got burned off. We'll be lucky if we live through it. And when we do, he'll hopefully have to have us back on our hands and knees begging him if we could find a potato. You dum-dums. Watched this for over 30 years. I was like, I got to get the fuck out of here. And if I didn't get the fuck out of here, I needed to get in as close as possible to off-grid living as I could possibly manage with some sort of side gig to make a living. I am really heartbroken, and I was going to try to go this whole video and not get teary-eyed about it. Didn't I say it the other night? Some of us, it's like 30 or more years we have to watch this.
with our eyes taped open. And this taped and these big megaphones sticking out of our ears, and we could hear we could just see it. We just see the boulder going up the mountain. I mean, pushed down the side. And you know what? Once you push a boulder down the side of the mountain, nobody can stop it unless God wants it to stop. I don't see him stopping it. I don't see him stopping the boulder. He's letting your kids be fucked with right in your face. Right in your face. They don't even have to hide no more. They don't have to hide at the Christmas dinner and take you into the pantry and do some weird thing to the niece or nephew or the grandkids or whatever. No, it's right in your face. You're taking your children and putting them on the laps of groomers. Okay.